Good evening, everybody.
Hello, Sabado nighters. How are you?
Welcome. I get to be with Pastor Alvin tonight for this special edition of
Of
Sabado
course,
Nights.
my better half is here, and
Of course,
so
what can I
I
say?
get to
What do you get
stand
to
back a
do?
little bit.
No, this is like we're all dancing here.
There you go. We're excited for tonight. We've got somebody awesome. Maybe a lot of you are familiar with her, but just waiting for people to jump in. We have
People from
Facebook,
Facebook,
we have YouTube, and
and
we
we got
have
Kumu.
Kumu.
So if you happen to be on Kumu, hi everyone.
Hello.
I'm
Kamusta
Pastor
po?
Mitch. It's Pastor Alvin. We're from New Life the Fort, and this is our bi-monthly
Parang ganun.
bi-monthly get together on Saturday nights. We call it Sabado nights. We get to interview different people from different spheres of influence, and it's just really to see what their life journey is like.
And this is just really to encourage you, whatever journey you're having and whatever sphere you have. You can be an athlete, you can be an
Ooh, we haven't had
entertainer.
that one yet.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You can be a businessman or in the ministry or a doctor, um, um,
An artist.
an artist. You know, I'm hoping to have an astronaut or
That
uh,
sounds interesting.
interesting, yun, di ba?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a priest. I don't know.
Why not? That
Interesting.
sounds awesome.
Maybe
So
we'll
we're
have
saying
priests.
good evening to
Good
everyone.
evening. Who's here? Let's do shout outs.
We see Sandy, Lori, Virgie, Lourdes, Marge, Emmy, Raymond, Sister Lilybeth, GM. Who else do we see here? Who else can I
Let
say
us
hi?
know where you're listening from or watching
Sister
from.
Josie, Pow, Sigrid. Good evening. So we're just going to wait it out a little bit more. You know what? Maybe since you already know who our guest is going to be, maybe you have some questions
There
for
you
her
go.
because we've announced who it's going to be. And she's not a stranger to me, and because she was somebody I knew before she became famous.
Ooh.
She knew me before I became a pastor. In fact, we were we were teammates. We were teammates in college. We
Mm-hmm.
played softball together, fast pitch softball. So
Sports pala.
yes, sports. See, we need athletes here too, and we're getting that. You're getting the athletes here, who happens to also be an artist. But if you have questions that you can think of already, you can let us know. Okay, we want to say hi to the people in Kumu. We see Annie Lee. I see your names here. It's like Alcantara 24, Ella Sota, Danny Luna, Ali Doza, Nico Aquino, uh, JB Roto, Andy Lim. So we're so glad that you could join us tonight. Like I said, this is our bi-monthly get-together on Saturday nights where we do interviews, we chat with some people just to know their life journey.
Yeah, I'm saying hi to the people in Kumu.
Oh, are you?
What's up, sir? You can do multitask. I can do the same.
So we're going on. You'll see Pastor Alvin as well on Kumu. But again, we're glad that you could join us tonight. I believe it's going to be a great conversation.
Oh yeah, this is what we have, and one of the ways that you can really discover about people is to have conversations with them, and we've had great conversations here in Sabado nights. We've discovered a lot of things. Some people have gone through uh, some tragic events in their lives, but God has really.
Sorry, I'm looking at it. It's like on the side
No,
of your
because I
face.
want to be able to hear myself. Hello. We are the world.
Come
We
on.
are the children.
Do people actually know that song?
I don't know. I just saw it a while ago on YouTube, and I just wanted to follow it. Yeah, we've had wonderful conversations, and people have journeyed from one career to the next, and some people are doing two things. Some people are businessmen, also full time in ministry, and yeah, we learn a lot. And what is interesting is to see the grace of God operate
Right.
in the lives of people many different ways. I believe in the scripture would say the manifold, right?
Yeah, the
Manifold,
many-folded, faceted.
multi-dimensional ways that God is able to operate in people's lives, and we have, of course, today. In fact, maybe we can introduce her formally before we bring her in, and with that, I give you Pastor Mitch.
So, like I said, this is somebody who is a friend of mine. We knew each other before I was a pastor, before she was a famous artist.
Mm-hmm.
But when I asked her, "What do you want to be known? How do you want me to introduce you?" She goes, very simply, because really, she's that type of person. I mean, she's very laid back. She always has been. Very sweet personality. I mean, I'm sure she's cringing as I'm saying this, but she it's interesting because I never thought she would have been the type of person that would, want to be in the limelight. And I don't know if it was necessarily a want, but she found herself stepping into that. So, Barbie Almalbis Hanasan is a friend. She is a wife. She's a mom. And she is a singer-songwriter. Okay? And so we're going to ask Barbie to come on in and join us tonight as we have a conversation.
Palakpakan naman dyan. Yay!
Hey, Pastor Mitch, Pastor Alvin. That was verbatim. The intro.
There you go.
It was verbatim, right? I mean, it's like I could go on and on and on about, you and how we knew each other 25 years ago.
Wow.
No,
no,
Well,
no,
this is, and we were in children's church.
Yeah.
No, I think of course I don't think you'd know this, but there was an overlap. I think you were joining your church, Victory, diba?
Yeah.
And I think I was on my way out. I was doing New Life, so
You were doing
Oh.
New
I
Life.
was going to
You were
New Life.
moving to
and,
New Life.
Yeah, and
Were
there
you
was a
were you a
concert.
pastor then? Also,
No, I was a
joining
rebel.
a rebel.
No, you weren't a
No, no, no.
rebel.
No, I think there was a concert that was done in the new building BGC, and gathered a couple of artists and whatever. And I think I was tasked to direct that with
Oh,
Jordan.
yeah, that's why. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
we
I was
met
there,
before
and
nga. Look very familiar.
you guys were the artists. I was backstage and trying not to be tense. I was chilling. It was good. It was good. So,
No, so
yeah.
Barbie actually hasn't changed. She looks exactly the same as she looked
you're a
like
good friend.
25 years ago.
Parang
No,
tayo,
it's
parang
true.
tayo.
Okay, I can actually say for myself, I definitely don't look the same way I looked in
'Cause
in
you look
college
better.
because
That's
I
not true.
was.
Guys,
I
come on.
disagree. I disagree.
Can everybody say amen
Wow,
and agree with
thank
me?
you.
Pakita
Thank
natin
you.
picture natin. May picture tayo dito eh. Nasaan na ba
Oh my
yun?
Lord.
No, I was actually going to bring that up. Okay,
Yes.
so
It's somewhere
we got
here.
reconnected because Barbie posted a picture of us playing. Well, we were in the dugout playing softball, and somebody sent me a message and said, "Pastor, is this you beside Barbie Almalbis?" And I just started laughing and
Oh, no,
laughing.
it's too,
Are you?
I
Can you
can't
go
share it
ahead?
lang.
You
It's
gonna
too far. It's gonna be blurred.
It's
Wala,
by
it's too
faith.
far.
It's by
It's
faith.
by faith.
There
By
you go.
faith.
Yes.
Well, if you follow Barbie on IG, you'll see this picture that she posted. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was just funny because people were like, "Is that Barbie? She played softball?" Yes, she did.
Saling pusa lang
Before-
ako. Saling pusa. Si Mitch yung magaling. Saling
No,
pusa.
hey, she was a very fast runner. Okay, so as long as we got her, she got onto a base. We were pretty sure she was gonna make it home.
That's
All
exciting,
right.
Rocky.
So, thank you, Marge. Says you look better, Pastara. Thank you so much. 25 years ago, I was much younger, but it's all good. Oh, we have somebody that says, "I'm a fan." Hi, Barbie Almalbis. This is Zell. So
Hi, Zell.
Hello.
I'm a fan. I'm sure we have a whole fan club here as well.
There you go.
Even probably on Kumu. But let's get started.
Dalawa
Okay.
lang kami nag-uusap sa kumay. Marge is there.
Okay,
Marge is
let's
there.
get started. Barbie, before you became the Barbie Almalbis,
So funny.
well,
No.
it's true though. I mean, what am I going to say? It is true. What was your life like? What was your life like growing up? What was your childhood like for you? Can you
Well,
just kinda share that with us?
Well, I grew up in Rojas City in Capiz, and then went to high school in Iloilo, which is like a 2-hour drive. I think it's shorter now because of better roads. But anyway, I grew up there, and um, in a family of musicians. Like my grandparents, they had a church choir, and my mom and her siblings all like played instruments and wrote music. Although since this was nga in the 80s and 80s, early 90s in the province, there was no music industry. There were not really
Mm-hmm.
there weren't really like any bands where I grew up. So I didn't think that
Yeah.
music could be a career or anything like that. It was just something that we enjoyed doing as a family. And then I started writing songs in high school. It was my grandmother and my mom who taught me how to play guitar, and then so it was just a hobby for me, but it was something that I did every single day. I loved it, and um, I guess my first like not really performance, but my first time to perform was when I joined their church choir. Like I was grade 5, grade 6, and at the start I was the ano, 'di ba ngayon ano na PowerPoint na dati acetate, 'di ba? Yung ano,
That's true. That's
I
You'll
was the
have
right.
to
acetate
explain
girl.
that to the
Yeah,
to
sorry
the
guys.
younger
In
generation.
college, we used
Overhead
acetate pa
projectors,
rin eh.
guys.
Overhead projectors with the
So true.
acetate and screen. Yeah. So I was the acetate girl. I was like, there in the Sunday mass. I would do that. And
Yeah, yeah.
then yeah, and then later on, I graduated to like guitar player in the choir.
Uh,
And then even in high school, I would play. I would play guitar for church. And then yeah, and then when I met you, I was in college, and it was through an accounting class that I met my future bandmates. I was like, I think I was writing a song during accounting class, and then my seatmate Ran Golamko like noticed that I was doing something else, in class, and then yeah, and then he started talking. He's like, so oh, you're a songwriter, ganyan, ganyan. And he said, oh, I'm in a band. I can introduce you to people who are in bands, and yun lang. And yeah, like you said nga earlier, parang it wasn't really like, I mean, siguro parang siyang daydream. It wasn't like a plan, That's why I was
mhm.
Yeah.
in LaSalle studying business management. I wasn't like planning on becoming, anything like like any like musician or anything like that. It was
Yeah.
just something that parang happened nga through the people I met. And yeah, so it was kind of fast because after I met friends um in the band scene. I met this guy named Ricky, who started Hungry and Poets with me. He was the guy with the plan because siya talaga parang, let's make demos, let's send it to the record labels, and then let's start gigging, things like that. So, yeah. So, parang nangyari na lang siya. Ganun.
I think I actually got a chance to attend one of your gigs. I think you invited, I guess you invited part of the team to come and watch, your gig.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because I remember like even when we were training, there was a time that you brought your guitar
Yeah, I'd always
and
have my guitar. I'd be that girl in school who,
had your
have a
guitar.
guitar in school. Yeah.
Well, okay, so when we would hang out,
Mm.
because we were such good students, we never skipped class at
Mhm.
all. Okay.
Oh,
Stay in
man.
school, people. Stay in
Yeah, yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah.
When we would hang out, kind of like in the amphitheater,
Mm.
playing cards
Yeah.
and all sorts of stuff, yeah, you would have your guitar. And
Yeah.
I remember because I love them, and you used to do, you would play for me, Indigo
Yeah.
Girls, and we
Yeah.
would just sing together,
Yes.
So I know, right? Pretty cool. I got to sing with Barbie.
Yeah.
No, but and it was just it was interesting to see that because you hadn't gone say mainstream, you hadn't joined the band yet, but I
Mm.
do remember when I guess you had, like I said, we at least went to one gig,
Yeah.
because you had gotten connected to your band,
Yeah.
and just took off from there. And of course, we didn't see you anymore in softball. You were there for 1 year.
Okay lang,
Um,
salingkusan lang naman ako dun.
You start playing hardball in another industry.
Yeah, so so was Hungry Young Poets something that you guys came up with together? Or was that a name that he had and you just kind of
Yeah.
jumped on
Yeah,
in?
no, that was Ricky's. That was Ricky's name.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay. And
yeah,
then
he was
eventually
kind
it
of like our
became,
band leader. Yeah. Then eventually became Barbie's Cradle. This was in uh yeah, 99. A few years after. Tagal na,
so
no?
how did that feel to actually have, it became your band. It wasn't just the band you were part of. It was your band
Yeah.
now.
Oh well, well to me, I mean, it had my name, but for me, I still treated it the same way because we still worked on the songs as a band, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was still a team effort even until today. Actually, like I'm a solo artist. Like because I use my own name. But when I make music, when I make albums, when I perform gigs, I still have the same band. I mean, I still have a band with me. It's
Oh
still a
wow.
team effort, and
Okay.
it's just all like marketing. I mean, like it's like how you
Yeah.
just want to present yourself. But yeah, I could definitely couldn't do this alone, and I'm proud to say like I'm the I'm like that I'm the least talented in my band. You know what I mean? Like I'm so proud of the people that I work with, and so grateful to be to be working with them. There's super 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 great musicians that I got in my band. So
As
grateful.
you know, that's one of the great leadership traits. For those of you who are listening, as a leader, you dispense credit. You
Yeah,
give
you give it
credit to
to
the
other
team.
people.
But if you,
May pero totoo talaga. Like I take lessons from
good
my
job.
bandmates. Like my bass player is my brother-in-law Karel, and he's like awesome. Like and yeah, he lives next door, so I would go to his house and like ask for lessons, like guitar lessons, bass lessons, because he's so
Wow.
good. Yeah,
Well,
so
what
it's
other instruments do you play, Barbie? I mean, I know that you play the guitar. What else do you play?
it's really only the guitar that I like spent time practicing. Although since we had the piano in the house and I was growing up, I can play a little and a little bit of drums, but
Okay.
not enough to really perform unless it's for fun. Ano lang.
Pambahay lang.
Pambahay lang, yeah. I perform with the kids.
Let me
Yeah.
go back to what you said a while ago. Uh, at what age did you start writing?
Yeah.
And just curious, do you still remember what you wrote?
Yeah, I was gonna. That was my question. I
Yeah.
was gonna ask what your first
Yeah.
song that you wrote was.
Um okay, I was
Was
about
it for a
around
specific person
14.
or what?
Okay, 14.
Ganun. Yeah, I was 14, high school. No, I don't think it was for any specific person. It must have been a love song, but just like a pretend love song, maybe. But it's definitely super cheesy and never like played it again.
Who did you play it
but
for?
just my classmates. Oh no, the first song I did. No, I don't think I played it for anyone actually. Just I just play by myself. Um, but I also collaborated with some of my smart classmates, yung mga classmates ko na nasa honor roll, sila yung mga
Okay.
magaling magsulat, like I'd ask them to write lyrics, and you know, I'd write like I'd put the chords and put the melody. So a lot of my earlier songs were in high school were collaborations.
Do
So
you
yeah.
do you consider yourself more a singer or a songwriter?
I think more of a songwriter. I don't think I wasn't even in the glee club in school. You were in the glee club, weren't you,
I
Mitch?
was in the Glee Club. Yes,
You
for
were,
my
right?
first year. Yes.
Yeah. I wasn't even in the glee club. So I mean my mom would let me sing when I was like grade 1. She taught me Rainbow Connection, and every time there's like a school anything, I would sing, but and then tomorrow, from Annie, those were my two songs in my repertoire when I was in grade school. But then yeah, after that, I didn't really like sing a lot. Like I was in the choir, but it was because I started writing songs that I started singing. It's like somebody needed to sing the songs. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Of
that's
all
what
the
it is.
songs that you've written so far, what's your favorite?
Oh,
Oh, that's
it's
a tough
hard. It's
question.
yeah. I guess the last one
Okay. And then I guess the next one, whatever you're
will be
writing,
it.
will be the
Yeah,
next one as well.
yeah. You have to continue being excited about it.
Is it true that if you ask an artist about something like that, it's like asking them who's your favorite child?
Oh yeah, and then, yeah. Well, at least you won't get in trouble. So maybe not.
That way. Right?
Yeah, but yeah, not as much, but yeah, but same feeling, because yeah, every song, at least the songs that you're happy about, like they're very every song is personal, and at the moment or that season that you wrote it, you feel like it's just the best thing that you could do. So ano siya, it's hard to pick one nga.
It's so
Sure.
funny. I'm reading the comments, and some of them are going, sample, sample, relax, everyone, relax. I
Magano
did
kayo,
ask
mag-request
her.
kayo, sabihin niyo dito. Basahin ko
Yeah.
Oh,
yung
there
ano
you
niyo.
go.
Meron
There you
kaming
go.
prepare na
She
opera.
said, prepare.
Okay. For those of you, kasi maraming nanonood sa atin, maybe they are, they wanna, maybe they have dreams of becoming a musician or
Songwriter,
songwriter or
singer.
whatever. Ano yung proseso mo, like for example, the guitar part, no? How did you hone your craft to a point that you can actually go out and make
Career.
it a career
Right.
and be successful at it? Ano yung, because a lot of people gusto nila yung finished product, di ba? Yung pagsikat ka na, pag, you have the endorsements or whatever that goes with it. But they don't see what happens behind the scenes.
Right.
And as an artist, as a
Mm.
person, ano yung pinagdaanan mong proseso? Do you have uh, battles
Mhm.
with people or regrets or failures or whatever? But let's start first yung proseso mo. Paano ka
Mm.
nagsimula?
Well, every musician's journey is different, right? From the other, from the next. So, my own lang. Uh, it it started like I shared earlier. You know, I grew up in Roja City, and there was no cable TV. Even the local TV stations didn't reach our barangay because we lived in like a fishing village far away from the city in Roja City. So wala. I'm one of the few kids who didn't grow up to Sesame Street or anything like that. Kasi yun nga, wala kaming, masyadong distraction. So that's why when I learned to play guitar when I was grade 5, I just loved it so much. I'd play it every day. It was my entertainment for myself.
Mm.
Um, so and yeah, so it was many years of that, of enjoying making music on my own. And of course, like if you have a friend to share it with, like with Mitch nga in college, but it's always fun to bond,
Yeah.
with music. Yeah, but it was something that I enjoyed even when there was no audience. And
Mm, yeah.
parang and even when it became in a career, I had to continue like holding on to that. Kasi when it becomes a career, suddenly your songs and your music are not like, may not be as free anymore. Because, you know what I mean? Or feel parang free. You know what I mean? Because suddenly there's something riding onto them. So suddenly they have to sustain a career. Suddenly they have to,
Right.
songs have to turn into money. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
and you work, I personally work differently when I carry that weight, when I try to carry that burden, and I can't seem to write and can't seem to, to be free as a musician when I think that way. So I always have to go back to why I'm playing music. And it's the joy that it's a God-given joy that I have, when I'm doing it. And this thought has also, I guess, helped me throughout my career, because I've been doing this since 96, 97. So that's around the time that we met, so more than
23.
20
Yeah.
years. And it's also been an up and down. Like, it's not like when you get some success, it doesn't, if you have that pressure to sustain it, right? But
Yeah.
you can't, because ano siya, up and down talaga siya, may different
Right.
seasons talaga. And and there have been many many moments when I thought it was over, like, and it's really my relationship with God, definitely, that has kept me going. And I know it's parang, so long as God still has a plan for me, and with regard to music, then I know it will keep going. So, but I've gone through many seasons of just surrendering it to Him, like parang, God, if this is over, I don't know what's, I'm trusting you for what's next. Um but also, uh parang, like, even recently, like during this pandemic, 'di ba? I'm sure marami sa atin, like, kino-question ano
Mm-hmm.
bang, what the future holds. And
Right.
then just God reminded me that, whatever happens to my career, I'll always have that enjoyment of getting my guitar,
Wow.
singing in my room, and, just me and God, and just enjoying the gift that He gave me, and, just worshiping Him with it. I was like, yeah, that's what I enjoy the most anyway. Like, just making music itself. And but of course, God is faithful when it comes to, sustaining us, to providing for us, and giving us a purpose. So yeah, yeah, but I hope that answered your question.
No, I mean, I love what you said about going back to, I guess, the reason why
Mm-hmm.
we do what we're doing, you
Mm,
know, because I guess, everybody has their own, I guess, way of dealing with things. It's almost like this is who you really are when nobody's watching. And for
mm,
you, it was just always being on your guitar,
Yeah.
and writing and singing and just making those melodies. I got
Mm.
a scripture came to mind, was making those melodies in your heart.
Mm.
And that was something you were already doing. I remember one of the
Mm.
things you said, because you were talking about ups and downs.
Yeah.
Um, like, I mean, when I said you need discipline from softball, it's because things started to pick up for you,
Mm.
as an artist, part of the band, doing your gigs and stuff like that. What was life like for you in those times? Because I'm sure they weren't always
Oh yeah.
happy times,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean, was there a moment where you felt like you hit rock bottom?
Oh yeah.
So,
I surely did. um Well, I guess I mean I can't talk about that the time in my life without really talking about my relationship with God, because it was at
perfect.
that time when there was the major shift in my life, because of that, because of meeting Jesus. So I did grow up, knowing about God, like I said, like even serving in church, like I would play guitar in
Yeah.
our church choir. But I guess I was like kind of like a Sunday, believer. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just something that I grew up with, or into. But I didn't really, I guess, know God in a personal way, or I didn't really follow Him. I just still did my own thing, and I just thought that I just had to follow my heart. Man,
Yeah.
don't do
Right.
that. Because I didn't know what else to follow except my own desires and my own. So I did get into a lot of trouble by doing that. Um, uh, yeah. So and then I don't know. Do you remember our philosophy class in first year? We were
Our
classmates. That
philosophy, was that the one where we had to, at the end of it, everybody renounced being, like, they didn't believe
exactly,
anymore and everybody became atheists. And I think
exactly.
well, I
You
wasn't.
except you, except you.
Except
There's
me, I was
like,
the only one in class that
yeah,
said no,
maybe
I
you or
stand
five
for
of
what I'm
you.
believing.
I can't believe it, but yeah, it was like, so I grew up, believing God,
Yeah.
just but being a Sunday Christian, like going to mass and going,
Yeah.
but other than Sunday, I just do my own thing. I'd be my own God. I just follow my heart, whatever I did, whenever I wanted. And then we went to our intro to philosophy class, and we had a brilliant teacher who, like, if
Shoot.
I guess if the foundation of your faith isn't that deep, you just like you'd fall off your house, your
Mm.
seat, so
Right.
that's what happened. Like at the beginning of the term, we all, we were considered ourselves, believers, but at the
Yeah.
end of the term, like Mitch and maybe I don't know four others, so just a few of them,
Yeah,
like everybody else
we were a
became an
small group
atheist.
of people. Yep.
Yeah, you were one of them who, because and then so but that was a crazy time, because yun nga, I guess it also exposed yun nga, like, if did I really believe what I
Yeah.
said I believed, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That when I was presented with these questions that I couldn't answer, suddenly it all just like, yun na nga, parang, and so there, so and then this was around the same time that the band started, and of course, like with the success nga, you wouldn't know how to, I didn't know how to really deal with it, like, having that pressure to perform and pressure to sustain things, and
Yeah.
um yeah, and then also the temptations that came with it, like, meeting
Mm.
people, and I guess even up to that point in my life, yun nga, kaya nga I was following my heart, because I felt like there was that void. There was a thing in me that, of course, I
Yes.
didn't know God personally, and so I tried to fill
Mm.
that void in me with these things, that these new things that I was surrounded with. And then so it was like a relationship after a relationship that that wouldn't work out, and in music, and there was even came to a point where I didn't enjoy playing music anymore. It was kasi yun nga, parang
Wow.
you do something, it would be successful, the next thing you do it's not as successful, and you do, parang it's like,
Yeah.
it was a weird relationship, with music. So it became burdensome at one point, and
Yeah.
um ano ba, parang dumating ako sa point na and of course I was confused. So I felt lost. I didn't know much about God anymore. I didn't know
Wow.
what I believed, but I was so broken, and I didn't know where to go until a friend of mine started sharing Jesus to me. Like my former manager, one of my best friends, Corinne. She we would nagtelebabad kami before, di ba? Like on the landline. So
That's true. Landline was
nagtatelebabad
the in
kami.
thing.
What's the thing? Yeah. So we were on the phone, and she'd say, I was talking to God last night, and then God told me. So I was like, what? Wait, what? You talk to God, and then God tells you things. Like, I was shocked at how she explained her
Yeah.
relationship with God. But then she started sharing, about her relationship with God, about how God is you can communicate with Him, and He cares about you in a personal way and things like
Wow.
that.
Right.
And then, I would debate with her, like things I learned from our class. But then she just continued, being patient with me, loving me. She didn't argue with me. It's just like she just like
Yeah.
had questions. She tried
Uh-huh.
to answer them, but she just oh no, she didn't try to like fight with me or anything like that. And even one night we were at a sleepover because we would sleep over sometimes before we go to our gigs. I was having a panic attack. Yun nga, kasi this season I was having a lot of depression, mga panic attacks, mga ganun. I couldn't sleep the whole night. It was like maybe I don't know 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I was still like on the floor, like I don't know, beating myself up. I just couldn't sleep.
Wow.
And then she woke up, and then she's like, you know what? She said, God told me He's gonna use you one day. It's gonna be okay. And then she fell right back to sleep. And I was like,
Wow.
ah, you know, um, yeah. And then that went on. And then she introduced me to a missionary who was also in a band. His name is Michael Turner, and he
Okay.
he shared the he was in a band called Battery,
Yeah.
like
Yes,
a
yes,
like a
yes. I
rock
remember that.
band.
Right, right.
Yes.
And then he drew on a piece of paper. He drew a target, and then he asked me. He said God was in the center of the target, and if like people like really terrible people are over here at the end, and good people are over here, like somewhere closer, where would you be? And I put myself, I guess like most of us, like somewhere in the middle. And then he shared with me that the Bible says that for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So he said that it doesn't matter where you are actually on this whole target. If you miss the bullseye, you actually missed God. And
Yep.
he said, but the good news is that because of what Jesus did on the cross, you can go straight to the bullseye by receiving what He's done for you as you believe in Him. So then, so then he asked me if I wanted to receive Jesus, and I was like, sure. So then I prayed a prayer to say sorry for my
Yeah.
sins and to receive Jesus, but I didn't understand yet, what I
Right.
did,
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
meant, and I still continued living the same way, following my heart, like relationship after relationship that didn't work out, and doing things that I knew didn't please God and the God that I
Yeah.
that I knew of growing up, but I still continued doing that, but it was different this time. It was like parang the void kept getting bigger. Parang my depression started getting, I don't know, deeper and longer, and
Uh,
and I started. I guess I started. Parang I came to a point yun na nga nag rock bottom na ako. I got to a really desperate point, and I prayed the so-called agnostic's prayer. I didn't know that there was such a word for it, but I prayed this prayer. Like one day in my room, I said, like, God, I don't know, if you're real, but God,
mm-hmm.
if you're really real, if you're real, please let me know. I'm so desperate to know. If you're real,
Yeah.
just find a way to, let me know if you're real, and then I started reading the Bible that my best friend, nga si Corinne, gave me.
I've given you.
It's not a huge student's Bible. I started reading it. And then, uh, yeah, just shortly after that prayer, I came upon a verse in Matthew. It said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God."
Wow.
And
Wow.
and one of
So
the
good.
reasons why I couldn't really surrender or believe in God was because I couldn't see Him. I couldn't
Yep.
perceive Him. I felt like, ano ba to, parang I'll just, blind faith, or I just like, I believe even if I don't, you know what I mean? It's like, how
Yeah.
do I believe? Like, I don't know how. But then when I saw that verse, it made me realize the reason why I couldn't see Him, because it just shed a light into my heart. Like, I knew I was living a sinful life before Him, and many things that I didn't please God. So I knew that. this must be the reason why I couldn't see him. So then, so that night I went down on my knees in my room, and I
Wow.
prayed the same prayer that I prayed with Michael Turner, but this time I guess it meant differently. I just said,
Right.
God, I've been living my own way
Wow.
all this time, and it's gotten me here at rock bottom. Not even music could make me happy anymore. It's like I don't know the way out. And I said,
Yeah.
I've done, and I've gotten here just following my way. I said, I want to do it your way, from here, or, and yeah. And then it was, uh, before that, I'd been like reading different things and listening to different, like, I guess, self-help things like that, and some
Yeah.
Yeah.
things sounded nice but didn't really change my life. But it was, when I surrendered my life to God and started, by his grace, like with his help, I started, I guess, changing the way I live, by, just like whatever I'd see in the Bible, I'd realize I'm not living this way. Like with his grace, I started to,
Wow.
to adjust, and to follow him. I started to see like real changes in my life, like that never happened before. So I realized this isn't like a self-help thing or anything. It's
Right.
like my life started to change talaga,
Yeah.
like my relationship with my parents, like, I got closer to my parents. Like some of the burdens that I had been carrying, like, I guess, mga hurts and things like that, I got to share with people, and I got to find healing in different areas in my life. And even in school, at this point, I had actually, kaya nawala ako. I didn't just leave softball. I actually left school at a certain
Wow.
Okay.
point. Yeah, because I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't handle, the music thing and the school thing.
Yeah.
So I went AWOL. I just like, I don't know. I just went out of the gate, and then I'm not coming back. And then I left. but 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 thankfully, like when I after a few years into my walk with God, I actually did go back to school, and I was so like excited to be back. It was like a totally new experience for me, being like following God. And I don't know, because back then I didn't really care, because I just wanted to play guitar, So I guess I didn't know the faithfulness part. Like if I didn't enjoy something, I wouldn't, do my best
Yeah.
in it, because it was boring,
Yeah.
Yeah.
boring. But like, when I started walking with God, I had a different perspective about school, like, about being faithful where God puts you. And I realized there was a lot to learn. Like I suddenly enjoyed history for the first time. I enjoyed my accounting classes or whatever classes I had. Like, and then I had taxation classes, and I'm glad I listened on those lessons, because now I use them as as a working person. And
Right.
all this
Yeah.
all happened. So this was way after you guys graduated, Namich. I went back after you guys graduated. So, but yeah, so, oh, and then, I mean, like I said, yeah, I was quite mediocre in school, like, from high school, and all throughout when we were in school. But first time ako nag-dean's list nung pagbalik ko.
Come
So glory
on.
to God yun, not me, but yun nga. So parang, alam mo yun, parang every area in my life, like God really touched and changed. And yeah, I'm grateful na through the years I can still do music, and it's
Yeah.
really my relationship with him that has sustained me. It's not music. So it's
Yeah.
like music is like a fruit of it. And I'm grateful,
Yeah.
like I'm grateful that I got to do it still.
No, I love what you said about, you realized, like when you went back to school, to be being faithful where you're at. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that, is that there is a lot to learn where you are. People are
Yeah,
always going, "Oh, this must be better over here. There are greener pastures over
Mm.
here." But God has reasons for seasons.
that's true.
The moments that are carved out in our life for these particular moments are really there for our learning. they
That's
they
true.
they they help to hone and refine our character, our person.
Right.
And I love that, you realize that as you went back, and that joy of being faithful where you were. you
Mm,
know I think that's part of the being on the dean's list, was part of the fruit of that.
I know.
Being
Yeah.
It's like,
faithful in that moment. I mean,
mm.
hey, people who are in school, if you're watching this, it is possible. It is possible. If you feel like you're the worst student, it's
Oh
possible
yeah,
to get your grades up. But I guess
yeah,
it's that. It's realizing that, in that moment, in the moment that you're in school, it's a precious time where you can be
Right.
learning,
Right.
learning to be faithful with what's given to you, and it's also an opportunity to ask God, what, with all this knowledge that I'm receiving, what's the purpose of it? What
Yeah.
is
Right.
this going to do for me later on,
Yeah.
in my life? And you said music is still something that is a part of you. I mean, I'm glad you didn't stop music, but I think music changed as well,
That's true.
you know,
Yeah.
because would you say that while you enjoyed playing music, there wasn't necessarily a purpose behind what you were doing? And so when you became famous, you know, the weight of that,
Yeah.
because there was really no purpose behind it apart from this is
That's
going to
true.
make me money, was
Mm.
also added to the weight and the pressure of having to perform, because that's
Right.
That's
really what it
true.
was. It's a
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But when you,
also,
okay,
yeah. Go. Yeah.
no,
And
no, 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 go
also,
ahead, go ahead.
yeah. I guess also the burden of I guess being known, or um I don't know. This is just
Expectations.
my personal, I guess, like thinking lang, like even as a Christian, like I feel like, like how we are called to worship God, and only He really deserves worship, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so sometimes with even especially nowadays, like with social media culture, like somehow, like, I mean, I wish there were no numbers on Instagram, or you know what I mean. It's like now you can't help but every time you look at somebody, there's a number beside them, but how many followers they have, how many people are watching,
How
things
many
like that. And
likes?
it puts such a, I guess it's such a temptation to us to put our value in it. And
Mm-hmm.
but yun nga, but going back to that thing, so yeah, that only God is worthy of worship, and so nobody else is. We are not worthy of worship, and not only aren't we worthy, but we can't handle it either. You know what I mean?
That's
It's
true.
like, yeah, so we we're, yeah, it's ano ba? Sorry, I'm
No,
mumbling,
it's
but
okay.
but
It's
yeah,
fine.
but yeah, what I'm trying to say is yeah, yeah, when you kind of, I guess, carry that, or receive that, or believe your press, believe the press about you,
Yeah.
it becomes such a burden. And um I don't know, I can't explain it, but it's like I have, by God is faithful to remind me. God's faithful
That's right.
to humble, like just being a mom and seeing your weaknesses, and be in your diba, like being inadequate, right? So sometimes, and you're just needing God's grace. It reminds you of your humble position before God. And yeah, it's um yeah, it's yeah, but there's always that temptation, like, when people,
That's true.
like, are praising you and things like that. You have to, God is faithful to remind you, because if not, if you drink that, and if you continue, like, believing that that's who you are, it becomes, I don't know, it's just not meant to be. Yes, it's not. It's worship is meant to be for God, and we're more whole, and we're more happy when we are worshiping Him rather than receiving the worship. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
No, that's really, really good. I mean, I like what you said about, when you start to believe the press about you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
um, because then they begin to define the reality of who you are.
Mm.
But I mean, while they see a facet of you, they're never going to know the real you. The only
Mm.
one that knows the real you is God. He
Yeah.
knows the ins and outs. He knows the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
He knows everything we don't show people, especially
Mm.
in social media. The way things are so out there. I mean, honestly, we don't do a lot of social media. I mean,
Mm.
you'll see us post certain things every so often, but
Yeah.
I guess to a certain degree, it's very private. But
Mhm.
there is also that, what's the word I'm looking for? There is that there is a it's a tool that should be used, and
Definitely.
it,
Of course. Yeah.
that
Mhm.
can promote, who Jesus is
Yes,
to
that's
us.
true.
Because like what you said, how, and I pray if the people that are listening, sometimes we just say a prayer and we think that's enough, but the
Mm.
prayers need to penetrate our hearts.
Mm.
I mean, Barbie shared it. She said that she had prayed that prayer the first time, and yet nothing happened.
Right.
Mm.
But when she got to a place where she knew that she needed God, God showed up,
Mm.
and it wasn't an overnight transformation, right? It
Mm.
took
For
time.
sure. Yeah.
There are things that
Yeah.
needed to be unlearned,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. But
And I
I
needed
love that.
people
Yeah, and you
to
need
help
that
me.
exactly. You
I needed
need
a
people
community.
around you, and you
Mm-mm.
did. You found. I mean, you had
Right.
Yeah,
Kareen,
I
and
did.
then you have your church. You ended up part of ministry, which we'll get to in a bit.
Mm.
Um, but it brought you to that place. I love how God used the scripture because you kept talking about how I want the things that were in my heart, the
Mm.
things that were in my heart. And maybe for some, you hear that follow your heart, but your heart needs to be aligned with God's heart.
Yeah.
It can't just be what you want or what you think he wants.
Mm.
It he'll tell you. It will it and
Yeah.
it's not something that he's going to force on you. You always have to choose it. But I love how God used the word to speak to you about heart.
Yeah.
That was the thing that was going on. I'm going to follow my heart. And God, what does
Oh
he tell
wow.
you? He
Yeah.
goes,
Yeah. No one's ever pointed this. That's awesome. Yeah. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall
yeah,
see
blessed
God.
are the pure in
That's
heart.
right.
Because we can't always say our motives are pure,
Yeah.
right? We can't. I
Mm.
mean, none of us can say that our motives are pure. But if we keep ourselves humble before God, it he will help us to he'll help purify our motives.
Yeah.
you know so I love how you had said that, and that's what spoke to me, is that how we want to go a certain way, we want to do things. I mean, okay, who doesn't want to be famous, really? Or who doesn't want to have the riches? Who doesn't? People do want that, and I do believe that God wants that as well for you, but not at the risk of losing you to those things,
Mm.
because
Oh, somebody wants to
you
say
can
hi.
get
Sorry.
lost.
Hi.
Hi, you're
Ito
Cinta, right?
Stina. Stina.
Stina, hi, nice to
Hi.
meet
Say
you.
hi.
Say
Say
hi to
good night.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
She always wants to say hi. Okay. Love you.
Well, as you can tell, Barbie's a mom, and she's a mom to
Good night.
two amazing kids. Okay, Liam and Stina. You
Stina.
know,
Yeah.
so do they follow in your footsteps? Are they musicians as well, or in
Um.
Martin's footsteps as artists?
Well, Stina says she wants to be a painter when she grows up, but yeah, she plays the piano and Liam plays guitar. So they enjoy doing music and listening to music. Right now, it's um what do you call this, like anime music in our house all the time because they love anime.
We can relate. We have the same problem with our kids too. So,
Problem.
well, it's a
Challenge.
problem when they want to do it all the
All
time.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but so after you received Jesus, really, I mean, it became a reality to you. Your life began to change, and you
Mm.
began to see the difference in how your life was being lived.
Mm.
Did that cause a rift, in say in your band, or is that part of why you ended up becoming a solo artist? All of that.
Well, like like you said earlier, diba? Like our faith, like our walk with God is never forced on us, and we also don't force it on others, right? So
Mhm.
when we started our band naman, it was like we got together as musicians.
Yeah.
But of course, like when I became a Christian, parang I wanted to follow God, like because I knew that, I mean, the music thing was is still his idea, and I just knew that I had to put him first, over anything really, because he's the one who he takes care of everything else. And so that part of like transitioning um to becoming a solo artist, it came to that one of those points in my life where I thought it was over. Actually, remember I
Mhm.
said earlier that it was like up and down, and
Yeah.
because I had been like more focused on serving in church, like I was just doing music ministry, and I was in school, back in school as well, and I just didn't know. Yeah, it just came to a point where I just prayed about it, because yun nga parang uh, I guess parang the joy in my, I mean, I I enjoyed playing music. I had such great bandmates even then, and they're so sobrang galing. I'm a fan of my bandmates. Um, but there was something in me that when we would perform na parang may something sa heart ko lang na parang joy na nawala na I don't know na sa ganun. So I just prayed about it and also prayed about it, and I also like talked to people, even to my former manager. It was the late Wingard Tracy who was managing us at that time, and just really considering my options, and yeah, and after much nga, prayer, I just knew that I felt like that chapter needed to end. Like parang I just needed to leave. And okay lang naman yun kasi it's work naman, di ba? Hindi
Yeah.
naman siya,
Yeah.
you know, doesn't have to be a perpetual relationship, right? It's like that season for me was like parang was done, and but I didn't know what the next step was. So I asked, I let my band know. I said, it wasn't like yeah, wala akong anything planned. It was like I just surrendered it to God. It's like, God, parang I don't know where you're taking me next. But parang I just surrendered it to Him. And then there, and I told my bandmates na I was gonna finish our last few gigs in those months. Parang ano yun mga April, May, June. Basta we were just gonna finish our gigs till June. And then yeah, I didn't know what was next. And then actually there was sh- shortly, was it shortly after that or around the time, there was actually somebody also in church who prayed for me, one of our pastors. And no, before. It was weird. I mean, it's not weird, but like, if you're familiar with how God works and how, sometimes like, mga yung miraculous things na, 'di ba, na there's a pastor who prayed for me, and he said na parang um God's doing something in your life. He said na he's gonna tell you to do something, and um it's like a step that you're gonna take, and don't be afraid to take it because God has already prepared something. That's it.
Right.
I didn't know what it was at the time, and I even told my bandmates like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna do another thing. I thought it was gonna be another open door or whatever it was. And then yeah, but then when that moment came, you know, um I realized like later on that yun pala yung sinasabi ng friend ko na pastor na yun nga na it was a difficult decision. I didn't know what was going to happen next, but I could trust that God was preparing something.
Right.
So yeah, so I said goodbye to my band in May, and then yeah, so yun nga,
What
we
year
were
is
gonna
this, Barbie? What year was this?
2005, I
Okay.
think. Yeah, 2005. And then I even told them, yun nga, parang if they wanted to continue, it's okay, like if they wanted to use the songs, and I know it's okay. I just wanted to follow what God, where He was leading me, I guess, and ano rin, parang yun lang, basta ano na siya, mahirap i-explain, basta personal siya na crossroads nga sa buhay ko na,
Right.
ah, and then, um, so this was May, and then in June, a friend of mine suddenly like just told me that a brand close up was looking for a song, and they're asking songwriters to submit songs. And then ayun lang, so I happened to write Just a Smile, and then submitted it to them, and then they picked the song. I didn't have a band yet then kasi yun nga, I had left my band. And then yeah, so we quickly like put a band together to start, and like and started gigging. It's just like starting from scratch again, of course, kasi mahirap.
Yeah.
It takes time to get the band to really gel.
Right.
And yeah, so for me it was like yun nga, parang yun nga yung sinabi na God was planning something. I didn't know what was, I just totally left, and then I didn't know what was gonna happen next, but then I only to realize that God had planned something. And also naman, I mean, minsan ko lang to, I hardly share this because there was a bit of controversy during that time, because people, of course, like nobody wants to see anybody leave their band or leave bandmates behind, right? So
Right.
people, got hurt and everything. But for me, tayo naman kasi we're Christians naman tayo, so I mean, parang I guess I can share din with you na my faith talaga, my heart at the time was that if I obey God, I mean, if I follow what I believe that God wanted me to do, it would be a blessing even to the people
Awesome.
that I leave
Yeah.
behind. You know what I mean? If I was
Yeah.
gonna stay in a situation to please people, but then you know, uh, in the same way displease God by doing that, then it still won't be a good thing for them in the long run. So,
Yeah.
yun yung faith ko doon na, so I told them, it had nothing to do anything, nothing against, parang my band and I were friends. There's nothing bad between us then, and I was just praying that they'd understand my decision, and I just, that's my prayer na if I follow God, even if I say goodbye to you guys, I know it's gonna be a blessing to you in the end, because God works that way. He's wala, when you follow him, it's good. I
Right.
mean, there could be challenges, but in the end, God will always do that which is right. So
Yes.
yeah, and I was happy naman to see that my bandmates started to transition, and even until now they still continue to make music, and they had their own journeys. And actually, we've had a reunion gig. We've had times where we got to play together, and we remain
Wow.
friends. But it was a difficult season. It was hard to explain because it was so personal to me. It
Right.
wasn't a fight or anything. It was just that season I wanted to, I guess, yun nga. And shortly after that, I got married. I gave birth to my two children. So ano rin, kind of stopped din for a while. And I was happy to
Mm-hmm.
see that my bandmates continued, with their own different bands during that season in
Right.
my life where it was a bit quiet for me. So,
Well,
yeah.
okay, because sorry,
Yeah.
you want
Yeah.
to, no, because I was going to say, you said you got married that year. So what was,
I mean,
I mean, was Martin, was he, I'm looking for it. Was he supportive of your career that way? Um,
what was I kind of afraid from that moment. It's
I'm sorry. Okay, no, I said, was Martin supportive of your career? And then even of you stepping out from the band and doing all
Oh
of that?
no, yeah, Martin wasn't. We weren't dating yet at the time. This was 2005. Oh no, was it 2000? We got.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I got mixed. And yeah, no, this was early 2005. So
Okay.
remember, it was May and June. June was my last gig with Barbie's Cradle, and then started with Just a Smile came out, and maybe July or something like that. And then Martin and I started dating in October. So
Okay.
so God did have things planned. You know what I mean? It was like
Right.
I graduated from school that September. So it was
Wow,
a
it was
year of
one thing after
transition.
another.
Yeah, it was a year of transition for me in 2005. And then, so we started dating October, and then 6 months later we got married. And yeah.
That's
So
amazing. And
yeah,
okay, and you guys met in church.
we met in church. Yeah. We were going to the same church for 3 years. We were like acquaintances. We had the same group of friends, but we didn't really, become friends because we were,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, a bit shy towards each other or something. I don't know. And
Okay.
then yeah, and then 3 years into that, I don't know, we started liking each other, and you know,
Nagkaroon siya ng lakas ng loob finally.
nagkaroon lang ako ng loob. Yeah.
No,
No,
we're just saying that's there's hope. There's hope,
there you
people.
go.
There's hope.
Anyway, we just want to remind people, of course, we're having a conversation with Barbie here. We just want to let you know that if you guys have questions that you want to ask, I think it'd be good to post them. Let us know what they are, whether you're in Facebook, YouTube,
Or
or
Kumu.
Kumu. In fact, somebody wants to say
Hello.
hi here. Gian Magdangal is saying hi. I don't know if you.
Hi,
Okay,
Gian.
there you go. So he's there, and he sent some
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of
love
people
to
that have
you.
been saying hi. I mean, we actually already have song requests.
Yun na.
Oh, we
You know,
do.
there's a
Let me
yeah, there are a
check
whole
as
bunch of
well.
song requests.
Bohemian Rhapsody daw.
Si
With
Gian Magdagal yon.
with
Siya
full
dapat ang guest.
blending.
Okay, so here are some of the songs that they have requested. Okay, so obviously
What?
you don't have to do them all
Set
because
list
you
ba?
may have
Set list?
something. Yeah, it almost
Ganun.
almost Stars,
Wow.
Rebirth,
Wow.
Overdrive, Fire Woman. Wait, there's another one. Hold on. There's a bunch of them. Just a second. Looking. Um, there was one that said this was something that is her life song.
Wow.
I'm trying to find it.
Live song. Wala bang worship songs dyan?
No, they're not. No, because we want to hear Barbie and her
course,
songs, of course. So hold on. I'm looking. Where is it?
Ayun na, may
Oh,
mic
there.
na sa puno.
Dahilan.
Oh.
Song request, please. Dahilan. It has been one of my life songs, Barbie.
I will get my.
There you go.
Oh, she's
See,
getting
go
her
ahead.
guitar, guys.
Wow, yan na.
She's getting ready to serenade you tonight.
Andiyan po yung kanyang banda. There you go. Andiyan na sila nag-aabang sa
Hintay lang pala
likod.
mong type.
There's also Lilim. Is that correct? Lilim.
Lilim.
Yeah, Lilim. Tabing ilog. Max, come on.
Ano, CD ata yung hinihingi nyo eh. Isa-isa lang. Guys, grabe naman kayo.
So I guess,
Huwag niyo
Barbie,
gustuhin.
whatever you feel like would be a great
Okay.
song for tonight, just okay. We seem to have it's between Lilim and Dahilan right now. There seems to be a
Meron
fight
pang
over here.
Original soundtrack ng Tabing Ilog.
That's it. That's the one.
Oh, there you go. Iba kasi pinabasa ko.
Okay. And there's also Just a Smile. Well, well, well.
Okay.
Oh,
Ano kaya?
there's
Sige, sige.
Ilagay natin sa ruleta. Paikutin.
Wow, everybody's excited. It's like perfect, excited. Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbie.
Barbie.
This is
Almalbis.
called Dahilan.
Awesome. There you go, guys.
Alam ko ng pangalan mo, pati address at telepono. Sa daming kwentong umiikot, alam ko na rin ang mga ayaw mo. Ngunit lahat ng ito ay walang hulugan, kundi rin lang ikaw ang matagpuan. Ang pag-ibig ko ay walang saysay, kundi rin lang ikaw ang dahilan. Ang alam ko ang dati, hanggang ating gabi. Alin na kung anong sabihin nila, habang buhay magkatabi. Ngunit lahat ng ito ay walang hulugan, hindi rin lang ikaw ang matagpuan. Ang pag-ibig ko ay walang saysay, kundi rin lang ikaw ang dahilan. Pinapasa kita, lapit kong magkita, isinusuri ko ang mga deklaan. Ngunit lahat ng ito ay walang kahulugan, kundi rin lang ikaw ang katapusan. Ang pag-ibig ko ay walang saysay, kundi rin lang ikaw ang dahilan. Kundi rin lang ikaw ang dahilan.
There
Awesome.
you go.
Come on.
Wow. First time in Sabado nights.
Also, I feel like I'm fangirling over here. I mean, she started playing and singing. And I was like, come on. Come on. You have everybody that's like, if you look at if you can see the comments, people are just
Somebody posted the whole
thrilled.
lyrics. Of,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Para makikanta rin sila. There you go. I'm
That's
sure
awesome.
everybody was singing along. Thank you so much for that.
It's my
Barbie,
pleasure.
can you do one more? Can I
Sure,
request
sure.
one more?
Just a short one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, whatever. I would say whatever's your favorite, but you said whatever was the last one. So I mean, I guess
The last
what
one.
you.
Well, that I wrote. Oh, how about maybe I can do Just a Smile since it was requested a while ago and it was like yun nga,
Yes,
yun yung
do
nakwento ko
it.
kanina. Yung song na sinulat ko when yun nga, God did something.
There you go.
Was inspired by the transformation in your life and the
No,
things that he
ano
was
actually
doing.
actually the song I just sang, yung Dahilan, it was inspired by that. It's I don't know if you could see the lyrics, but yun nga, it's about knowing so much about God but not really, it's like really knowing him in a personal way and finding
Yeah.
that yun nga, all our loves and all our desires, all of those things that were not rooted in him before, like just led me to, yung ganito ko nga kanina. And so now yun nga, dapat na sa kanya nanggagaling yung mga love natin talaga. Sa kanya, rooted sa kanya.
Yeah.
That's what the song
Awesome.
Dahilan is about.
Beautiful,
Okay.
beautiful. I'm
Ito naman,
excited.
Just a Smile is a love song, and I wrote it yun nga, around June of that year 2005, and like I said, Martin and I started dating in October. So when I wrote this song, it was a song about the future. I was like, I'm writing an imaginary love song. Kasi it's like,
Prophetic pala.
prophetic love song.
That's
Oh,
right.
yung mga gustong magkaroon ng special someone, magsulat na rin kayo ng prophetic
Song
love
for the
song nyo.
future. Here we go.
Okay, let's do it.
Oops, sorry. Let me just. I wanna tell you everything. Vis-a-vis. Won't you come up close? I want to hear you breathe. I'm walking down the street. I'm lost at sea. Out of the crowd, you smile, and you're all I see. You make me feel like I can get lost inside your eyes. I feel closer to the sky when you sleep and day with just a smile, just a smile. Wanna meet you someday soon, 'cause I know you in my mind. Everything will be different when I have you right beside. We can take the whole wide world with your boyish charm. But even as you pull me close, I want to stay in your arms. You make me feel like I can get lost inside your eyes. I feel closer to the sky when you save the day with just a smile. When I look for you in everyone, I thought I searched the world in vain. Now you look at me, and the search is done. It will never be the same, not the same. You make me feel like I can get lost inside your sunrise. I feel closer to the sky. Wednesday the day with just a smile. Just a smile. A smile. Just a smile.
Awesome. You just made us smile. I mean, it's so funny reading the comments. You have been through everybody's childhood and high school days.
There you go.
Man.
We were having that conversation earlier. Well, this is before we actually logged on, guys. Well, we were talking. We became people's ate
Oo nga.
and tita. You know,
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
Pero forever looking ate lang. Okay? There you go.
No, it's awesome to hear you singing, you know, and playing Barbie. I mean, it brings back a lot of memories. I mean, thinking 25 years ago, how you started and where you are today, you know, God has just brought you a long, long way.
Look what the Lord has done.
Really, you know.
I have a question that I've been thinking about. How does it feel right now, looking back from where you started and now using your voice, maybe in a different way, uh, using it for the Lord? I mean, how's that like? Because you mentioned a while ago something very profound, actually, that worship should only be rendered towards
Yeah,
God,
right.
di ba?
Mm.
Kasi siya lang naman yung number one, He's worthy of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think in my thinking,
Yeah.
He's the only one who can demand worship from us because He's not changed by it.
True.
It doesn't
what it
add.
is, yeah.
It doesn't add to Him. When it's given to man, it changes us. Napansin mo naman,
Yeah,
how
kaya nga parang siyang mabigat eh.
oo, yung life natin nagbabago because suddenly we're looking at numbers. And you mentioned something a while ago that was, it hasn't really changed from the beginning of time. Like yung dati wala naman mga social media pero we're still once you've tasted that, parang way okay tong palakpak ah.
Yeah.
And now before that was given to people with high degree of talent such as you and whatever, and you get to a certain degree of fame and whatever that people look for. Pero suddenly yung nagkaroon ng access because of social media, suddenly somebody who may not have the same abilities like you and somebody else, suddenly they have this, they can grab their phone and they can just, and then
Fame
they
becomes
get
instant.
famous
Yeah.
instantly. What would you say to people who are craving for that, and what do you think are the dangers, and how
Not even
can they
think.
shift it para hindi
Yeah.
pumasok
I
sa
think-
isip nila?
Ano bang siguro if you think about it, itong mga bagay na to, like yun nga, they're dangers, we call them dangers, but and they are dangerous, but at the same time, if you look at the root of why we have these desires, you'll see that it's not really a bad, that kumbaga the root of it is that we want to be known. Like, bakit ba masarap ang palakpak? Bakit ba masarap ang pag pinupuri ka? Kasi we do, the Bible does say that let's encourage each other daily, right? We're called to encourage each. So
Yeah.
we do need encouragement. We do need love. We do need affirmation. And we do, as human beings, we do need to be seen and be appreciated, right? So kaya yun naman yung desire, I think, na nafe-feel niya, at hindi siya masamang desire. But at the
Yeah.
same time, yun nga, as I walked with God, parang God parang began to start teaching me that I should get it from the right source, which is Him. Like, like yun nga, parang to be affirmed by Him, to know that He loves me even when I'm, on the days that I fail. And because yun nga, if you get it from anything other than God, then you end up being so insecure. And I guess that's what happened to me, because one day people might clap, the next day if it's a bad gig they
Yeah.
might not clap. And if I wrap my worth around that, then I was very insecure then, because ayun nga, kaya ang hirap niya i-sustain, parang lagi
Oo.
ka ba nilang gusto, parang so it is a need that is legitimate. But as we start working with God, yun nga, sa kanya natin mahahanap yun. Kaya natin siyang i-render sa kanya. God, itong mga palakpak, I mean, it's for your glory, I thank you for people who do help me, feel encouraged. I do appreciate the messages that people give me, and pero yun nga siya, parang yung ultimately my worth should be, tied to who God is in my life, and how Jesus has loved me, and how he loves me
Yeah.
unconditionally.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so that's what I guess keeps me, anyway, secure in every season.
That's good.
Yun. So I hope that answers your question. Na
Yeah.
yan, okay naman yung mga desires natin. Dapat lang paano ba natin fino-fulfill yung desires na to. Parang God has a way of giving us the dreams that we have. God has a way of giving us the desires that we have. And he knows what's best for us. So, yun lang.
That's wonderfully put, Barbie. I think
Yeah.
we can all learn from David, who himself is a songwriter. King David, I mean,
Yeah. David.
the writer, the
He was a
he's a
songwriter. I mean,
prolific songwriter, and maybe a dancer. We don't know, but there was an instance in his life that he was afforded, something almost to a level of worship where his men, diba, gave
Yeah.
him
Sing
water
songs.
where he didn't
Yeah.
even ask, right? He gave
Yeah,
him
yeah,
water
yeah.
that, said,
That
"Naku,
they
kung
risk their lives.
makailangan-" Yes,
Yeah.
they risked their lives. I think what he did was very important. He poured the water on the ground. And I think as artists, as people who get on a platform and receive
Yeah.
this attention, when the curtains closed, when the lights go out, we need to be able to pour whatever that was
Yeah,
given to
receive,
us
yeah.
and say,
That's
at the end
true.
of the day, this is for the
For you.
Lord, so that we don't take it in because we can't handle it. We need to be
That's
able to lift it up to Him, and that's just a personal thing. Uh, we can understand a little bit of what it's like to be on stage. Kasi
Yes, yeah.
nag-theater, diba?
Yeah, we
Nag-theater
theater.
ka, and it gets to you. And for people who are going through, kasi people can get paranoid. You wake up in the middle of the night to check how many likes,
That's true.
how many
Yeah.
dislikes, how many views, how many,
Yeah.
and
I don't think
you-
they're dislikes,
yeah,
but you know,
whatever.
I get the point.
Kasi it gets to you,
Yeah.
because you
There
like to
there
do
are
it.
dislikes on YouTube.
That's true. That's true on
Diba?
YouTube. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
The
yeah,
thumbs
yeah.
down, right?
Yeah.
So, itong yung ganyang lifestyle, hindi na siya limited sa mga, public people, because now suddenly there's a
Worldwide.
platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I go back to something na nag-trigger, I think,
That thought.
a thought,
A thought.
because you mentioned something that happened in college, and my question would be, is it something that contributed to you? Kasi nangyari, diba, between you, and you said there were only few people that actually
Yes.
ended up continuing with their faith. A lot
Gago
of
na,
people.
ang galing nga eh. I would tell the story before, then now I realize nga you were one of those people. Like, you were one of the few. I would always say, like, at the end of the class, there were only 5 people who believed in God, and you were one of them. Good for you, Mitch.
Well, no, because okay. So just for people to know, when we were in this class in philosophy, this teacher would make us read tons and tons of different writers,
Yeah.
different theologians, all sorts of
Philosophies
stuff,
and
philosophies,
stuff.
whatever. And really, his aim, and he was very vocal about that at the beginning of the class.
Yeah.
His aim was to make the class become atheist or no longer believe what they believe. Okay, and
Yeah.
so I mean, he was adamant about that. And at the end of the class, he asked everybody, right, where they stood in their believing.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. And then you raised hand. Yeah. It's like
Yeah, and he
only-
goes, "How many of you still believe?" And I raised my hand, and a bunch of, I think, yeah, you're right. I think there were about 5 of us in that class. I thought we were less, maybe about 3.
maybe,
but,
yeah.
But
Wow.
there are only very, very few compared to the class, okay, that
Grabe,
raised their
no?
hand and said we still believe. And at the end of the class, this is what he said to everybody. He goes, "While it was my aim to make you atheist, I'm not an atheist." And everybody was like, "What are you talking about?" I remember that because I was mad because I said, "How could
Yeah.
you do that to people?" And he goes, "What I was simply doing was making them think about what they believe."
But you know what? Like through the years, like after getting to know God, because I did, do enjoy yun nga, studying apologetics, and like yun nga, like learning to know
How to read
How to
it.
defend your faith. Yeah.
why we believe what we believe. Parang ang dami kong daydream na sana bumalik ako sa class na yon. Parang gusto kong kausapin yung teacher ko, may sagot na
Yeah.
ako. Dati wala akong sagot. Alam mo yun?
No, but I think
Man.
that will lead to my question. Do you think, because a lot of people live nominal
Yeah.
Christianity, you know,
I think
parang
that's what it was nga. He shook us, and then it just revealed what we had underneath.
yeah.
Like,
Do you think it's
like
important for people to have that kind of experience, or to just continue to believe, to think they actually believe, but they really don't until something, a tragic event in their lives?
Yeah.
Do you think that's advisable for a teacher to do that? Or, because there are teachers out there in the world who are teaching it for real because they really want you to not believe.
Yeah.
And that's predominant in, you know, universities all over the world. Just for
well,
people who
well,
may be
I
thinking
think
about that.
well, I think naman with basta sana naman, like, like maging totoo, like even as a mom, like, right, for my children,
Yeah.
we teach them about God, we teach them about faith, but at the end of the day, we want it to be real for them. We want it to be their
Yes.
own. We want them to come into their own, and really embrace it as something that is personal to them. Hindi lang dahil kinalakihan nila. So ganun
Right.
din, syempre, as my prayer for my own kids. I also pray that for other people, that because God is, I mean, if from my own personal experience, God is alive, and God is,
Right.
yeah, He's working every day, and He can be very evident in your life, that you'd know Him, without a doubt, that it's not something na, yun nga, parang pinipilit mo sarili mong maniwala, but it's something you see Him working in your life every day. Um, so I do pray that, yeah, that it wouldn't be just a nominal thing, something that, dahil kinalakihan mo lang, but dahil totoo siya, yung pinapaniwalaan mo. So, yung styles naman ng teachers, hindi ko alam. Hindi naman ako teacher, so hindi ko alam kung okay ba yun o hindi ba okay yun. Pero, yeah, I guess it's one of the things that we can be faithful with as well. And even in our faith, we can continue to learn, about, yun nga,
Yep.
what we believe in, and ang dami pa, parang kaya nga hindi tayo mabobore sa heaven. Ang dami pa tungkol kay God
That's
na
true.
pag-aaralan natin. 'Di ba? Sabi
So
nila
true.
kasi
That's
nang
so
gagawin
true.
natin sa heaven, kakanta lang tayo praise and worship, 'di ba? Parang alam mo, the whole we will be worshiping Him in heaven, right? But man, it's inexhaustible. We don't know. Eye has
We
seen, no
don't
ear
That's
know.
has
true.
heard, right? There's so much more to learn, and we'll spend our whole eternity, discovering things.
We have no concept of eternity, no matter
Yeah,
how hard we try to imagine what it feels like.
yeah.
Kasi, you know, but how does it make you feel to know that there's something on this side of heaven that will transition well in
Eternity.
eternity,
Yeah.
which what you mentioned, worship.
Worship.
Parang that's something that you bring over there. A lot of things we will
Mm-mm.
not be carrying when we get there
Yeah,
because it doesn't really matter. But worship is something, meaning the song, the
yeah.
music, that whole expression, which is your, big part of your
Mm-mm.
life, part of your industry.
I think that, worship is really, uh, it's like it's just an expression of our relationship with God. Like it's a communication. It's when we get to see God for who He is, and we appreciate and we love Him for who He is. As we are, ano nga, 'di ba? Parang we are beings who want to worship. That's why
Mm.
fandom is such a big thing, and we love artistas and ganito. We wanna give our worship to someone. You know what I mean? We want to see somebody above us, that we appreciate, and yun nga. So yun nga, so dito pa lang dito, habang nandito pa lang tayo, yun nga, we can already enjoy that with God, like being able to see, appreciate Him for who He is, and be so in love with Him, like, alam mo yan, yung mabibigay mo yun nga, yung praise mo, yung puso mo sa Kanya, dito pa lang. Um, yeah, so, yun lang. I'm just thankful. Siyempre, excited ka na sa heaven magagawa mo yun. Pero I'm thankful that kahit dito sa earth,
Wow,
That's
yun nga,
yeah.
good.
we do experience heaven really does begin here as well. Like, yun nga, yung kingdom nga niya nandito na rin, uh, nasa atin na rin. Parang ganun. It's like, ano yun na, the, the not yet, but the already, but not yet, right? It's like,
Yes,
it's
yes,
here, but it's also, it's
yeah,
not yet the full picture.
Right.
But, yeah.
We see bits and pieces of it, right?
Mm-mm.
Bits and pieces
yeah,
of heaven. Now, for a lot of you who are not necessarily musicians or singers, or, that doesn't mean you can't
yeah.
worship. You
Worship
know,
is what you find your hands to do. You
yeah,
know what I
that's
mean?
one way, and you surrender that. You give that to God. Because, like Barbie said earlier, He is the only one that deserves that kind of worship. Where you give your all. I mean, we see it in the natural where fans go crazy and they're willing to do whatever and give whatever,
That's worship.
and
You know,
that's
that's the
worship.
thing.
You know,
When they're lifting their hands towards the artista or whatever, and matalsikan man sila ng pawis, parang, "Oh, yeah," you know what I mean? That's really, like you said, designed for fandom or something.
but for us, as believers, our life is a life of worship. In no matter what it is that we're doing, we continue to keep our eyes on Jesus, and we offer Him our lives, because that's all that we have.
Tama.
And when we talk about our life, it's everything that's a part of our life. Not just a small part of it. No, it's every aspect of our life. When we lay that down in surrender, and we see how amazing God is, this is where the worship begins. It's acknowledging Him as as
Oh, I'm still here.
God.
I'm just gonna
Yes.
Yeah,
fix
no
my, fix
problem.
my camera battery.
No problem. Acknowledging Him as God, but not just God, because He wants to have relationship with us, right?
Right.
He doesn't want to be far away. He wants relationship into a place where we call Him Father.
Yeah.
Father. And I think that's part of something that Barbie experienced. When she said, "God, are you real? If you're real, show me." God was able to come into the picture and really initiate that relationship with her. And as you can see right now, I mean, from everything that she's saying, it's just really, her heart is just towards God. Everything that she's doing, the way she's living her life, everything is just towards God and for God. And then people just
Yeah.
get to see that. They witness that.
I think we need to remember that God initiated this relationship, and He's the one who wants it more. That's why He cannot deny a person who's really crying out. And of course, hindi naman natin ma-judge kung yung tao is just crying out because he wants something changed sa buhay niya,
Yeah.
yung circumstance, or he's really looking for that relationship. Hindi natin ma-judge yun, si God lang. But for a person who's really crying out, can you show yourself to me? And God is able to find, if He has to send somebody from the remotest place of the world just to get to you, like yung story na kinikwento namin, may isang guy dun sa North Pole, di ba?
Inuit.
Inuit.
The
North
Eskimos,
Pole siya,
Inuit.
walang tao. Sa gitna ng kalawakan, in the middle of all
Like
this
ice
whiteness.
and snow and
He was just looking at the sky. Sabi niya, kung totoo ka, of course he was saying it in his language, kung totoo ka, magpadala ka ng tao para ikwento kung sino ka sa akin.
yeah.
Right? And, lo and behold, when
haven't
the
heard this
prayer, the prayer was answered. At the same time, there was a Canadian guy who was asking God, who's an evangelist. He was saying, Lord, we planned, syempre mga evangelist, gusto nila yung malalaking meeting, di ba? Ang instruction sa kanya ni Lord, sabi niya, sige, ito yung gagawin mo.
Build an amphibious
Yeah.
vehicle.
Build a tank na
Yeah.
pwede sa snow, pwede sa tubig, pwede sa ganyan. Sabi niya, para saan? Sabi niya, basta. Sabi niya, Papa, saan ako pupunta? I want to send you to this place, sa North Pole. Sabi niya, wait a minute. How can I approach my partners, all my donors? Isang tao lang yung ma-reach ko kung meron man. Yung evangelist, yung mga, these people who are missionaries, nagsa-thrive sila kung marami silang na-report na I say,
Yeah.
there's hundreds of thousands of people that receive the Lord. Anyway, sabi niya, basta may tao nang nakaprepare na mag-fund sa'yo. So, he sent out the letters. One ministry
Okay.
said, we'll give you the tank that you want. And, he started going, and somehow
He would follow the reindeer, because that's his instruction was to go find these people. So he would follow the reindeer.
Wow.
until he came
Kasi yung
across these
reindeer, alam
people.
kung saan yung may pagkain, di ba?
Right.
They know where to go where there's food. And these people, the Inuits, who were nomads, were following,
Also.
the animals. And they found him in the field, and this guy started sharing Jesus Christ, And the guy was just nodding his head, nodding his head. And then later on, he said, of course, they had an interpreter. This guy said,
I was
"Yeah, I
wondering
know."
nga, naintindihan niya yung sinasabi ba?
No, they had an interpreter, but the guy said, "I know. Um, I already
I
talked to
prayed.
him. He said, if he's real, to send
Send me somebody,
somebody,
yeah.
and that's you." And of course, that
Wow.
guy was just bawling, crying. We just don't know how God would answer, but for sure, He hears the cries of our heart, and that's what
Yeah.
happened to you. And
Yeah.
look what the
He is
Lord is
good.
doing
God
in
is
your
good.
life, diba?
And it was interesting. It was because it was people that were, already within your immediate circle. Like it was your manager, Kareen, and then she introduced you to somebody who was also in the industry. So they had an idea of what it was like
A
to,
rocker named Mike Turner who had a pen and
Yeah.
paper.
So I mean, the thing is, when you look at the people around you, I believe that God's strategically placing people around you, to either be an encouragement, but to always point you to Him.
Yes.
If you happen to be around people, continue to point them to Jesus, because you're going to need that as well. You're going to need them to be pointing you to Jesus as well, because there will be challenges. There are going to be things that are going to shake you up. It's not just going to be a teacher. Somebody asked me, obviously, who went to LaSalle, was this Sir Gohoko? Yes, actually, that was him.
Oy, sikat siya.
No, he's
but,
legendary.
He is legendary in LaSalle. People know who he is. Okay,
Kaya
but
hindi ako naglasal.
there are going to be people that are going to question why you believe what you believe, and I mean, like Barbie said, I believe that you're so secure that if you're questioned now, I mean, they'd be
know.
like, I'm sorry,
Syempre
I don't know
grace
what
pa
you're
rin
talking
ni
about.
God. Syempre grace pa rin ni God. May mga bagay na, hindi ko
Amen.
alam yan. Okay lang din naman yun. Pero marami ng beses na parang, parang gusto kong balikan sana. May mga tanong na gusto kong sagutin.
Well, the thing is, none of us can change our pasts, right? We can't go back, but we can live our lives presently that are bringing people to a glorious future instead. Because, I mean, I'm sure the teacher knows who you are, and has seen what it's like for your life to have been transformed. I mean, it didn't disqualify you, right, Barbie? It didn't disqualify you at all.
Yeah.
You are where you are by the grace of God,
Right.
That's
and your life is making such a tremendous impact. Like I said, looking at all the comments, how your songs, you were with them in high school, you were with them in college. It's so personal for them, your songs, and so they are going beyond generations. Your life has impacted generations, and will continue to do so. Because
Right.
are you still? I'm sure you're still writing. I don't think you can stop writing songs.
Yeah.
Can we expect to hear new songs coming out
Yeah,
from
we'll be
this?
releasing new songs in the near future. We were
Okay,
making an album during
awesome.
this quarantine.
See, so guys, there will
Watch
be a
out.
new album coming out, and you got to be the first people to hear that it is coming out. So expect that. And come on, let's support Barbie. When it does come out, make sure you grab the music and let it become a part of you. But it's not just writing like albums for, say, for like a secular album, right? You also are writing in the church. You're also writing
Yeah,
songs in
I'm
church.
part of a worship band called Victory Worship, and yeah, there's like I don't know how many now, but more than 50 writers. Because we would usually
Awesome.
write, because it's all around the world, and we would have writing groups, and yeah, we would write together. Yeah, and then we would make albums, and um, it's like primarily it's really to serve like the church as well, like for songs to sing on a Sunday service, but the songs are also on Spotify and YouTube, so
Oh, great.
we're happy to share the songs with everyone as well. So,
What is the difference for you writing, say, secular songs, as compared to writing songs for church? What's the main difference for you?
Um, I think, well, yeah, I did have to, because I had been writing for a long time, but I only started writing in church maybe 5 years ago. We'd have like workshops, and at first it was so hard for me to do because, I have my own. I was used to writing with my own style, like my own way, even my own way of telling a story. But um, and I still do that. I mean, I could write. So like Dahilan earlier was like a song about God, and it's a song about my faith, but I write it in the way that I always wrote, which is just like like almost like a diary. But
Right.
when we would write songs for the church service, it's really there to to help people in their worship of God, like to help put words in their hearts and their mouths to to sing to God. And so a lot of those songs come from the Bible. So a lot of the lines come from the Bible, and also you have to think about the genre that it has to be singable because people have to be able to hear it for the first time, and then by the next chorus that they should be able to sing along
Right.
with it
Wow. Yes. Yes.
right away.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so and of course difficulty has to do with the context. It depends on the culture. Like in some cultures, like like I don't know, like a 7/8 rhythm is normal. They grew up to it, so they can just get it right away. But in other cultures, like you have to do
Takes a little bit
4/4
more
all the
time.
time or 3/4. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yes.
So yeah, so I had to keep that in mind. So it's yeah, it was a there's so many things I had to learn, like as well as collaboration because I was used to writing on my own. But in the church setting, we wanted to collaborate, and sometimes there would be three to five writers in every
Mm.
session. So it can't just be, you can't just take the song wherever you want to go.
Right.
You have to do the yes and, right? It's like you
Yeah.
accept what they say and then you add on to it, and it's always yes and also find a way to communicate well. If you think this doesn't work, like how can you say yes and but at the same time if it doesn't work, like parang ganun, you have to find a way to work together. Yun. So
And the doctrine, yung doktrina pa tama, dapat tama yung
oh
doktrina.
yeah. Although ano naman kasi yun nga syempre the writers wala naman sa amin dumaan sa seminar or anything like that na theology or anything. So we do ask for collaborate with the pastors and the
Yeah.
people who know deeper theology. We do check the give their insights and inputs, and we do it goes through editing. Of course,
Yeah.
we wanna worship in spirit and in truth. So as best as we can to do it um truthfully and in line with God's word. So
Has your
yeah. So
style
iba siyang
changed?
process.
Yeah. Has your style changed? Your
Um
music style changed?
yeah. I think my music style naman it's always influenced by whatever I listen to, whatever new thing whatever
Yeah.
parang ano yan eh, garbage in, garbage out. Parang ganun. So, yeah.
Whatever
On a positive
inspiration,
note,
ano.
inspiration in,
Yes.
inspiration out, ganun. So, ganun lang. So, yeah. So, whatever new thing I listen to, hopefully, it excites me to make music. Ganun naman eh. Kaya, ganun naman yung creative process. Parang we keep going because there's always something new to look forward to. And,
That's it.
hmm.
What of all the genres? What has I guess shaped the way you have become an artist?
Oh, well, the first genre that I really loved was rock. Actually it was even glam rock because I was in high school. That was bands like Skid Row and Guns N' Roses, and then actually yung Depeche Mode din, which is parang may pagka new wave ano na sila.
Mm.
Yeah, but yun yung una talaga. That was the type of music that made me want to be in a band. So hindi ko nga siya, like I said earlier, hindi ko siya dream or plan, but it was just like a daydream because every time I'd see their videos or hear their music, it was like, that looks like so much fun to do. Like it's so much fun to do. Like, I want to do that. I want to do that. Ganun lang. It wasn't like a career plan. It's like ang saya lang ng when you play guitar, it's like ang saya niyan.
Yeah.
So, yun lang. So that's what made me want to be in a band. It was that music.
So what's inspiring you now? What
What's
music's
inspiring me?
inspiring you now?
Um yun nga, like now, syempre, uh, like in our family, it's a shared musical experience. So I do have to listen to the anime music. Like, yeah, like we got a dog 2 weeks ago and we named her Yui, Yui, after
You.
a Japanese singer that my daughter loves because she loves anime music. And yeah. And then my husband naman, we watch a lot of like NPR ang tawag doon, tiny desk sessions, like all these like all different genres. We enjoy
Okay.
mga jazz also, like
Hmm.
mga snarky puppy, mga ganon. Um
Okay.
yeah, mga ganong music. Iba-iba.
Okay, we're gonna go into a rapid fire question
Wow.
Yeah, this is just as
session.
we're winding down, because
Okay,
guess what?
okay.
It's almost 2 hours. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Wow.
even feel like it. Nagkaroon pa tayo ng konting session and all of that, and
Awesome.
I'm sure people are very appreciative of the things that we're hearing from you. Thank you for sharing your life. But these are just rapid fire questions, and I want you to answer it as quickly as
Okay.
possible. Okay? Simple questions. Maybe later on,
Accurately.
magiging a little bit complicated. Okay? Number one, just to get to know you a little bit better. Favorite food,
Bread. Weird ba?
favorite color,
I'm not a 6-year-old. I don't have a favorite color.
okay,
It's
good.
from a movie.
Yes. Attire. What do you
Like to
like
Comfortable
to
wear.
wear?
attire.
Okay.
Loungewear, pambahay.
Yes.
There
I'm
you go.
grateful now that I can go to a gig with, wearing my pambahay because it's online. From here down, it's
That's true.
pambahay.
That's
Man,
That's
right.
true.
that's one thing I'm grateful for nowadays. Not having to think
Pet.
of what to wear.
There you
Okay.
go. A pet. What's your favorite pet?
Well,
Cat, because we just got a dog 2 weeks ago, but we've had our cat for 2 years. So, cat.
Oh,
so
okay.
that must be an interesting scenario at home. Your cat must be getting
Yeah,
used to
wala pa.
having
They're
that.
still living separately. We haven't yet. She's still too scared to meet the dog.
Okay.
Okay. Vacation spot. Meron ka? What's your favorite
Ah,
vacation spot?
wow. Mountain.
Ooh, okay.
Mountainy, cold mountainy area.
Okay.
Finish the sentence. I relax by doing
Blank.
blank.
Playing guitar.
Most daring thing I want to try.
Wala na eh. I mean,
Wow.
I consider myself a daredevil when I wasn't a mom. I mean, I
Ooh.
want to skydive, I want to do this, but now that I'm a mom, okay na. Hindi na
Stay on the
kailangan.
ground.
Hindi na. Okay na,
Your
okay na.
children are an adventure already,
Oo,
right? Your
Or
okay
it
na,
children
could
are
okay
be
na.
adventure.
Hindi na muna.
daring to have number 3. Okay. Pasta lang yon. I'm absolutely terrified of what? Blank.
Um, I don't know. Scary movies. I don't like to watch like super scary movies.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't like watching that also. I cannot live without blank.
Jesus, syempre.
Good
There you go.
answer.
Christian.
Oh, come on. Yung professor talaga. Oh, grabe talaga. Okay. If I can have a superpower, I would choose.
Teleporting. Di ba ba't ka palilipad, no? Dapat teleport ka na lang, nandun ka na.
Hindi mo na
That's a
kailangan
good way of looking at it. Never thought of it that way, but
wala ka
yeah.
ng kailangang visa. Praise the Lord. Okay. Favorite OPM song?
And then
Wow.
sing a line or two.
Oh.
Sa ngayon, umagang kay ganda kasi kaka-release ko lang ng
Ay, there you
ng
go. Come
version.
on.
Okay na. Kada.
Okay na yan. Sige,
Basta
bili na lang kayo ng
tayo'y
ano.
magkasama. Yan, nasa Spotify
Oh,
na.
I like that. Wow. I would like to have been born in what era? Kung makakapili ka.
Now. Okay na to. Hindi na ako
Okay, good.
nostalgic kasi I think sa bawat
Was there
era
ever-
meron palaging
Yeah.
challenges.
That's true.
So okay na rin to.
Hardest people to perform for? Meron ka bang naalala?
Okay. Hindi, mahaba kasi, hindi siya pwede rapid fire eh. Pero
Oh, ito
wala
na lang.
eh.
Yung
Wala akong
favorite
sagot.
na group mo na you want to
Schools.
perform?
Schools are
Schools.
the best.
Okay.
Like the high school energy, it's like, man, it's so much fun to play.
Okay.
What series are you watching now? Either Netflix or
Okay,
something else?
we just finished. Oh, okay, we just finished Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Then the other day, well, can I recommend it? Yeah, ano ba
Sure.
yun?
Sige.
No, there's one that we just watched. It's on Amazon Prime as well. It's something Loop. Wait. I'm gonna Google it.
Hanapin ko
I
yung
only watched the
mamaya.
first. I only watched the first episode, but I really Tales from the Loop. Okay,
Tales from the
it's
Loop.
like a series that it was inspired by a painting by paintings. So there's this one artist who makes like surreal paintings, and then they
Interesting.
made a series stories based on his paintings. So it's like
How
his paintings come
interesting.
alive. And it's kind of like Twilight Zone kind of thing, but it's
Okay.
heartwarming as well. I think you love. I
Explain
think
Twilight Zone
basta
sa mga
basta
tao.
medyo
Hindi
weird,
nakakalam.
mga hindi
Yes.
realistic, surreal nga
Yes.
ganon. So
There you
Tales
go.
from the Loop. But I only watched episode 1. It was great. So I don't know about the rest of the series, but we're watching episode 2 tonight. This is
Okay.
over.
Well, somebody else said
Tapusin natin
Tales from
to.
the Loop is so good, sci-fi-ish. Okay, so there's
Oy.
somebody else who
Yeah.
knows what that's about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Addict din
yeah,
yun
yeah.
sa mga series. Okay.
That's what we're watching now.
I would have liked to apprentice under if
Yeah.
it's in the past or whatever.
Wow. Just top of my head, it's just I just gonna say Joni Mitchell because she's one of like parang siya na yung ano eh. Alam mo yun?
Yeah.
Parang yung
Icon.
yeah, icon eh. Parang a lot of like the folk music, the singer-songwriters, you know. Syempre siya rin may influences din, pero siya talaga yung parang naging influence ng karamihan na singer-songwriters, especially female singer-songwriters.
Okay, if you could have been anything other than a artist, what would you have been?
I wanted to be a lawyer. Only because I thought A Few Good Men was cool.
There
Sila
you
Tom
go.
Cruise,
Oh,
ang
it's
cool naman
really
nito.
good. Yes.
Ang cool, gusto ko rin maging lawyer. Kaya pala, dami palang babasahin. Wag na.
Yeah, that's
Dala.
true.
Okay.
That's true.
If you could meet a person, any person in history except Jesus, who would it be?
Ay, grabe. Jesus na nga yung sagot eh.
Jesus is always the right answer.
Kaya na, pero
Oh,
diba?
eh.
Syempre, we all wanna meet Jesus. Si
Um,
Peter. Kasi andun din si Jesus.
John. The one Jesus love.
Daya.
Si Mary. Bilang nanay.
True.
Ato I'll give you time to answer this. I would like to be remembered as blank.
Wow. Somebody who loved Jesus. Jesus pa rin, ha?
That's good.
Okay lang.
Tama yun. Sige lang. If you could go back to your 10-year-old self or 12-year-old self,
Oh, man.
what advice would you give to yourself?
I just give myself a big hug and tell myself it's gonna be okay and that God loves me and God has a plan, even if nothing makes sense.
It's good.
Good.
It's good.
Lastly, life verse.
Oh, inulit lang din yung kanina, eh, no? Yung pa rin. Blessed are the pure.
Fun.
If that's it, then yeah, why not? Is that it?
I don't know. I guess I'm not like the life verse kind of person. I haven't really like. I mean, I do have a tattoo. And it was inspired by. It's a little tin soldier. It was inspired by Ephesians, the armor of God, and talks
Okay.
about how we have to wear the armor of God.
Yeah.
So I guess it's one of those verses that really struck me. That's why I wanted to. I don't know. You know, I guess I'd always wanted to get a tattoo, but I didn't want to commit to anything. And then when I came across that verse, parang it made had a big impact on me. So it talks about wearing the full armor of God, like wearing the
Yes.
helmet of salvation, the
Right.
shield of faith, the sword of the spirit, the belt of truth, the feet equipped with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. And then one day, even after I already got the tattoo, I realized that all of those elements are Jesus again, because like,
Yes.
diba, helmet of salvation, he is our salvation, the truth.
Right.
Diba, you have to wear the belt of truth. He
Yes.
is the truth. He says he is the way, the truth, and the life.
Correct.
And then you have the shield of faith. He is the author and perfecter of our faith. And then
Correct.
Yes.
and yeah, we have the sword of the spirit,
Spirit.
which is the word of God, and he says that he is the word
Yes.
of God, right? And then the feet
Right.
equipped with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. He is the Prince of Peace. So one day I
Correct.
realized that that whole armor we have to wear is Jesus every day. So it's like spending time with
Right.
him, surrendering to him. That's where we're in his protection and
There
living
you
in
go.
his purpose. So sorry, mahaba. May life verse pala ako.
No, no,
Meron.
no.
Akala ko
Meron
wala.
pala, meron pala. And that's perfect person to wear these times, diba? In
Yeah.
times of this pandemic and whatever,
Right.
put on Jesus Christ. With that, we'd like to thank you, Barbie, for the time that
Thank you,
gave us. We
Barbie.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you,
We've
Pastor Mitch and Alvin.
Okay,
learned
I have a
lot.
question for you.
Ayun.
This is more personal, just for other
Okay.
people. Was I intimidating in college?
Intimidate. Mabait ka naman. You're very, very kind,
See,
very nice.
everyone? See?
Yeah.
Because people are intimidated. I just wanted to put that out there.
But
So.
nung
Intimidate ka
tinanong mo,
naman.
nung tinanong mo naman, nakaka-intimidate naman yun. Was I
Okay.
intimidating in college?
Galingan mo yung sagot, ah.
Anyway, we hope maybe some other time we can have you again. And
Yeah.
maybe not even
Thank you.
online, maybe live somewhere when
Would
That's
love to.
things
Yeah,
are
would love
allowed.
to visit you guys. Yeah.
Yes, and we actually have people that are saying, please come and visit us. So when we are able to be physically present in one room,
Yep,
one venue,
we'll worship together.
Yep.
we will
Pag-pray
have
na
an
natin
opportunity to
yun.
worship together.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you for
Thank you so
staying with
much.
us, everyone. For all the
Love
people
you,
that are
Barbie.
watching.
Thank
Love you
you.
guys.
Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Facebook.
Kumu.
Thank,
Thank
you,
you, Kumu.
Thank you so much. And this video will stay here for a while for those
Right.
people who could not watch it live with us. I'm sure you're gonna enjoy as well as we enjoyed it live.
We
So
will
next
also
time,
have, next week actually, we will also have Sabado nights.
Yep.
So we'll be doing another Sabado
last
night.
Saturday of the month.
That's correct.
We want
But
to have-
Barbie, it has been such a pleasure reconnecting with you, getting to know you better, not just for us, but for everybody who was listening. And thank you for playing and singing for us. Like I said, that
Thank
moment
you.
I
Thank
felt
you
like
so
a
much.
fangirl.
For everybody else, good night.
Thank
We
Good
love
night,
you.
everybody.
And God bless you all.